Pre-selection is the idea that women find you more attractive when they become consciously aware of the fact that other women that are similar to them also find you attractive. Now, to be completely honest, in all my years of doing pickup and studying social dynamics and then understanding the game, I've personally come to realize that pre-selection doesn't actually spark attraction in women. It is, however, just about the most powerful way there is possible to spark a sense of urgency in women and to bring curiosity into their minds about who you are and how you function. On top of that, there's the added bonus of making them feel safer around you. You see, women are safety oriented creatures. When they know that other women similar to them have had relatively good experiences with you in the past, then they're more likely to let down their natural defenses around you. So it's a powerful tool. Don't get it twisted. It might not be what people have convinced you is the best way to create attraction, but it's just about the most powerful way to get past a woman's underlying defenses and get into the heart of her subconscious mind very easily. The question then becomes, if it's this powerful and it works this well, how exactly can you demonstrate pre-selection to women without actually already having women in your life, right? Like, how do you even begin? It's like that paradox of how can you get a job when the job requires you to have 5 years of experience, but you're fresh out of college, right? That same kind of thing. How can you convince women that women in your past have had a good experience with you when you don't have any women in your past, when you don't have the experience to back it up? That's what this video is about. I'm going to be teaching you about how pre-selection works, but more importantly, how to demonstrate pre-selection to women, even when you don't have the experience to back it up. How to demonstrate that you are pre-selected by women, even if you don't have women in your past or any kind of evidence at all to demonstrate to women that you are indeed pre-selected by them, right? Let's get into it. Preselection. Now, like I said before, preselection is not really for attraction per se. It's for creating a sense of urgency. It's for creating a curiosity around you. And a lot of people don't think about this, but it's actually for building comfort with women. It's like I said, women are safety-oriented creatures. They require safety to be able to deal with any man. So one of the best ways they create that safety within themselves is to look into your Carfax, so to speak, look into your history, and if they can tell from studying your history or from the way you talk or behave that you've had relatively positive experiences with women of their caliber, then they're more likely to feel comfortable around you. So these are the 3 major pillars of pre-selection. This is the whole point of pre-selection. And this is important to understand going forward because it means you don't necessarily have to have women in your life to create pre-selection or to create the effect of pre-selection in a woman's mind. All you need to do is demonstrate, right? When it comes to game, show, don't tell. Demonstrate that you have had those kind of positive experiences with women of a certain caliber, right? So it's all about your words, the things you say, and your behavioral cues. That is all it comes down to. The things you say and do around her. Those things, even on a subtle, very unconscious level, will indicate to her what your previous experiences with women have been like. And as far as I can tell, in all my years of doing this, there's about 5 major ways that you can demonstrate pre-selection to a woman without having to tell her that you have a girl or have had women in your life overtly, or demonstrate to her that you have the ability to generate attraction with other women of her caliber. All right, let's talk about all 5 of these major ways. They're very important. Pay attention. The first way, and it's just about the most obvious thing you can think about, but it's also, in my opinion, one of the most overlooked and very important ones. Number 1, Being normal around her. It's really that simple, that basic. Here's the thing. Most men, especially when dealing with high caliber women, beautiful women, very attractive women, don't know how to keep their norm or their baseline of behavior when they're around them. You see, beautiful women are seen by most men as valuable, and uh, because of that value that beautiful women represent to the average man, to most men on the planet, they don't know how to act around them. They get nervous, they get flustered, they get all kinds of anxious around women of this caliber. So in a way, being able to be completely normal, even to the point of being almost dead like in your behavior, nonchalant, if you will, is an indicator, a subtle indicator to her that you're not flustered by women of her caliber, which in turn indicates to her that you're used to being around women like her. You see how that works? So, that right there is where you get your pre-selection from. Being around her and being completely normal, as simple as that sounds, is more than enough to let women know, oh, okay, this guy is used to being around women like me. All right. Being all over the place and nervous and jittery, coming up with all these different kinds of nervous tics and weird behaviors around women, or even the things that you think are cool to do, but they're kind of like over exaggerations of what you think cool looks like or what cool is. All those things are subtle indications to her that you don't actually get bitches. You're not used to being around women like her. If not, you wouldn't feel the need to overcompensate with your behavior in a certain way, right? How do you cure this? It's very simple, actually. Overexposure. This is the best way possible. No tricks, no tips for that one. It really just comes down to the more you find yourself around beautiful women, the women of the caliber that you want, the more you get used to them. You have to essentially desensitize yourself to being around that caliber of women. Now, no pressure. You don't have to have dated these women or be dating this woman. Like, don't get it twisted. Obviously, date the women. That would be the point, right? But even if you go out of your way to put some of them in the friend zone or be in their friend zone, just being around those kinds of women alone is more than enough, right? That way you get that feeling of being around women and understanding how it feels like to be around them, and you just kind of get desensitized to them just via osmosis, and that will help you in getting women of the same caliber or higher that you actually want to move things forward with, right? So that's the first one. Be normal around them. The more normal, ironically, the more you stick out to these women as someone that actually has experience with them. I always say, if you want to get a 10, you don't have to be a 10 yourself, and you don't have to convince her that you're a 10. You just have to show her that you're used to being around 10s. When it comes to women, again, safety oriented creatures, all they want is someone that is used to their world, that is used to their perspective, their POV, right? That is the bare minimum. They'll take the 7 who's used to being around 10s over the actual 9 or 10 that's never been with a 10 before. Inexperience is the enemy of women. All right, so keep that in mind. Number 2, kind of shooting off number 1. Check this out. There we go. Rather long one, but necessary. The willingness to offend and be honest. This is a big one for most men because this ties into number 1, right? Whenever men find themselves in front of a beautiful woman, a woman that they think holds a lot of SNR value, so to speak, they lose their marbles. They go out of their way to do things that are abnormal. This is a little bit of that, but on steroids. Think about it like this. Not only does it take a certain level of desensitization to beautiful women to be able to be normal around them, as in to be able to maintain your normal baseline of behavioral cues around them, it takes an even different level of desensitization to be willing to spike up their own baseline, right? A simpler way to put it is, It takes a man who is used to being around women to be willing to offend them and be honest with them. You see, beautiful women, again, hold a lot of value in the eyes of a lot of men. And the last thing most men want to do is go out of their way in any way, shape, or form, whether on purpose or by accident, to offend a beautiful woman. Because in their minds, they think creating that negative emotion is going to ruin their chances with that beautiful woman. So the last thing they want to do is offend that woman. They're doing their best to be as agreeable as possible. Here's the thing though, that in itself, that need to be agreeable, is completely dishonest to begin with, number one. And then number two, even worse, is just about the worst thing you can do in terms of sparking attraction with beautiful women, right? A beautiful woman knows that the kind of man she wants is disagreeable. If I've said it once, I've said it a billion times. Agreeable women are sexy. Agreeable men are not. Women do not want agreeable men. Women do not want dishonest men. And that is what a man that is not willing to offend her or be honest with her or risk offending her, that's just not something they're capable of, right? A dishonest man is not capable of being honest with her and risking the potential of losing her or her attention and time or not being in her good graces anymore, right? An honest man doesn't give a fuck. And that in itself is an indicator of the fact that he's used to being around beautiful women. How is that possible? Because only a man that is used to being around beautiful women is more than willing to lose them. That's kind of how it works, right? Uh, Abundance of every kind has a few major characteristics when you're abundant in anything. But one of the most underrated characteristics is that when you are abundant in something, you are more willing and more likely to be willing to let that thing go, to almost be dismissive or disrespectful about it. If you had a room full of rubber bands, you wouldn't care to burn a stack of 1,000 of them because you know there's more, right? If you had a fuck ton of money or alcohol, right? You see people that have a lot of those things, they go to the club or the strip club and they throw those things away in an act of wasteful spending. Why? Because it's a show, physical show, that they have more. So the willingness to botch a set, the willingness to be willing to offend a woman and watch her walk away and not give a fuck in itself is an indicator to that woman that you're clearly used to being around beautiful women. Clearly. If you weren't, you wouldn't be willing to offend her or be disagreeable in that way. Right. Now, granted, when it comes to disagreeability, you don't want to just do it for the sake of being disagreeable or for the sake of being a douchebag. The beautiful thing about it is the way men and women are set up, we're so different as a creature. We're opposites pretty much. At some point, the longer you talk, you will run into a topic or a subject where both of you genuinely don't agree on something or don't agree on your different perspectives of the same thing or etc., right? So you don't have to be disagreeable. You don't have to go out of your way to be disagreeable. It will happen. The opportunity will naturally arise. And all you have to do is hold frame, be steady, and agree to disagree, but make sure you do disagree, right? You can also make sure you tease her, make sure you flirt with her. All a tease is saying something to her that puts her a little bit in her own head, saying something to her that she may take as offensive, but you're saying it in a playful way, right? So just the ability to do that in itself shows her, oh, he's not scared of me. And a man that clearly is used to being around women is not scared of them. You see how that works? All right, that's for number two. Number three. This is probably one of the biggest cheat codes when it comes to pre-selection. Understanding her ecosystem, her world, her life experiences. See, especially when you're dealing with beautiful women in particular, they are not better per se, and they should never be pedestalized. In fact, if anything, this entire video is about not pedestalizing them. But they do live in an entirely different world than every other woman. That is the truth. That is undeniable. Being able to speak to that experience is just about one of the greatest shortcuts you can use to letting women know that you are used to women of their caliber, especially when you're talking to tens, nines and tens. Nines and tens live a very different existence than sevens and below. So being able to pick out tiny little elements within their world, within their ecosystem and experience that you can make reference to without flinching will let them know that you're used to being in the world of a beautiful woman, right? For instance, I don't think there's a single bad bitch I've ever met who isn't on some kind of a strict diet or regimen or workout routine. Every single one of them, right? This myth of, beautiful women are just beautiful women naturally, or they are all like just genetic freaks. No, even with genetics, they have to work extremely hard to maintain their beauty. A lot of people don't really understand or are familiar with just how much work it takes for women, especially the most beautiful ones, to maintain their beauty, especially if their beauty is some kind of a tool they use to be competitive in their industry. If they're paid to look the way they do, oof, you'd be surprised what they go through to achieve, that certain look, that certain aesthetic, right? It's not easy. It's very painful. It takes quite a while to achieve that, and a lot of money, a lot of effort, right? So a lot of the time, being able to speak to that alone, being able, even what I just did right there without even realizing, but being able to appreciate the level of work they have to put in to achieve the skill that they call beauty. Because again, like I said, for them, beauty is a skill. Just being able to appreciate that skill alone is enough evidence to most women that you get bitches. Right there. Right there. Because most men aren't familiar enough with women to understand that about the ecosystem of a woman, right? And then you can extrapolate that into even tinier little steps and examples, like being able to speak to a small, tiny experience that she would have in the way of maintaining that beauty. Like certain brands she would patronize because of whatever regimen that she's on, or whatever kind of workout or routine or program she's on, or whatever kind of diet she's on. Like, for instance, a lot of these girls are on ketosis. Got to keep the sugars away, right? Because it kind of affects their ability to burn fat. You better know some ketosis brands or some big keto brands in the way of that. You might want to be able to memorize a few famous spots or a doctor's names for where they can get their lip filler or Botox, for instance, right? I'm not saying you have to do every single one of these things. I'm just saying, just being able to speak to what her world looks like without even asking her direct questions is enough, is more than enough. And beautiful thing about women is the more you approach, the more patterns begin to show up. You'll begin to realize a lot of them, even though they don't have the exact same interest or the exact same life experiences, just because they maybe go to the same place for Pilates or yoga, or visit the same brands online for their streetwear or their, yoga pants or gym wear, you'll begin to realize that they all have these tiny little commonalities, if you will, these things within all their experiences that are the same, and you can begin to speak to those things confidently with new women without even asking them if they've had those experiences, because you know confidently, oh, this woman looks like this, perfect. I know that there's other girls that I've met before that look just like that have had this particular experience. There's a good chance that she too has had that particular experience as well. See how that works? So that in itself is a big, big cheat code for getting women to understand. Listen, I'm the kind of guy that is used to being around women like you. I'm pre-selected, right? That's number 3. Number 4, giving her a chance to chase. This is one of the more subtle ones, and honestly, it's just a good way to practice good game, but also is one of the most important ones. See, there's 2 reasons you want to give women a chance to chase you. Well, actually 3, plus the main reason, which is showing your ability to be pre-selected. But the first 2 most important reasons is, well, the first one is rather sad, to be completely honest. It's the fact that women don't get chased often. Well, the beautiful ones you want anyway, right? Most average women, below average women, they're dying to be chased because they never get chased, right? But the women you want, the bad bitches, the tens, yeah, they get no chance to chase because every man is always very quickly telegraphing interest towards them, right? Most of the time, men don't have the discipline to lean back and let her be the one to do the pursuing. And you got to understand, not only are women inconvenienced by the fact that they're always getting chased. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out on this. It's not just the fact that they're inconvenienced by it, it's the fact that they hate and resent the fact that they don't get to choose who they want. You got to understand what the life of a beautiful woman is like. A lot of things just happen to them. They don't get to really choose what their own experiences are. And the fact that they don't have to do the initial approaching, is part of that frustration. You might think, oh, they're lucky. They don't have to do anything to create a relationship. But in reality, it means that they're robbed of the ability to choose their own relationships consciously. So when you give a woman a chance to chase you, you're giving her essentially an experience that she doesn't always get all the time. And it's like a rare treat. It's like a one-of-one type of experience that she gets to have for once in her life, right? Finally, with you, the special guy that's giving her the opportunity, where she actually feels like she's the one choosing the experience as opposed to having it just thrust on her. So it's exciting for her. It's amazing for her. On top of that, the second reason you want to give her a chance to chase you is that it's an indicator of the fact that you are actually high value yourself. You see, women want a guy that's actually high value. And one of the indicators of high value in a man is the fact that she had to work to get him, right? Women want a man that they don't deserve. This is something they'll never admit out loud, obviously, but this is the honest to God truth. They want a man that they realistically, deep down know they do not deserve. So the only way they can justify to themselves that they do deserve that man is to put in work for him. When you give her a chance to chase you, you're essentially giving her that opportunity to put in the work for you and feel like she's deserving of a man like you who she doesn't deserve. Which, again, is a situation women want to be in. They want to be with the high value guy, right? And then obviously, the third reason is the obvious reason for this video, which is the fact that if you are giving a woman a chance to chase you, it means that you must be the kind of guy that's used to getting chased by women. It's really that simple, right? So this is the major things you want to keep in mind. If you want to do this on a practical level, how do you actually make a woman chase you? How do you give a woman a chance to chase you? The best way I've seen so far is flip the script. Do to women preemptively what they usually do to men that are chasing them. Disqualify them, push them off, pull back. Say things to them like, whoa, relax. I don't know you like that yet. Whoa, give me a second. Let me get a chance to fill you out. Say things to them that make them feel like they're the ones chasing and you're the one still trying to figure them out because you're not sold on them yet. Whenever, just literally take the things that beautiful women say to you or have said to you in the past to reject you and say that to them preemptively in a playful way. Boom, they start chasing. That is how you get women to begin to qualify themselves to you, and it's fucking awesome, right? That's number 4. Number 5 is going to be rather simple. Be greedy. Be greedy. This is something that most men just don't remember to do or aren't aware they should be doing. Beauty, like I said, is something that a lot of men value because they're not used to it, right? And because they're not used to the value of beauty, especially when it's high value beauty, when she's highly desirable, men have this bad habit of just accepting the beauty at face value and not wanting much else. Men become very content with nothing but a woman's beauty. But the irony to it is, if you pay close attention to what women, beautiful women especially, pick in men and what kind of men they choose to date and sleep with, it's the men that don't give a fuck about her beauty, right? Almost like her beauty is a complicated spider web she weaves on purpose just to weed out the men that she doesn't want so that she can go for the men that she wants, the men who don't give a fuck about her beauty, right? And that's kind of the point here. Being the kind of guy that not completely dismisses her beauty, and we'll talk about that soon, but a man that knows to ask for more than her beauty, that challenges her and requires more of her than just how she looks. Again, pay attention to what I just said. I'm not saying you have to tell her that her beauty is useless to you, or that her beauty is bad, or to not acknowledge her beauty at all. In fact, it kind of creates the opposite effect if you go out of your way to not acknowledge her beauty, because that seems dishonest. She knows she's a bad bitch. For you to go out of your way to not acknowledge that, you just look like a boy on the playground in middle school that's trying not to let the girl know that he likes her. That's corny. That's goofy, right? A better way to go about it is to acknowledge the beauty. Yes, you're a beautiful girl. Yes, your face card doesn't decline. Yes, the body is T. Yes, all these things are true. But what more is there to you? What else is there to you? What other value can you provide me that is beyond just the way you look? That right there, the ability to do that in itself will indicate to the woman on an unconscious level that you're clearly used to and desensitized by a woman's beauty, no matter how impressive. And that right there is pre-selection at its finest. When she knows that she cannot impress you with her beauty, that is in itself is an indicator that her beauty is not something that is new to you. It's not something that's novel to you. It's something that's rather normal, commonplace, and you're completely desensitized to. Now, because you made it to this end part of the video, I'm gonna give you a sixth one. A sixth one, and this is probably the most important one you'll see. Number 6. Don't tell anybody, all right? Be carefree. Now, this sounds like number 1, where I said be normal, but again, it's taking be normal and putting it on even more steroids, right? Being carefree is the greatest indicator of anyone that gets pussy, bar none. It's not even close. Like I always say, the corniest thing you can do is worry about being corny. The creepiest thing you can do is worry about being creepy. The neediest thing you can do is worry about being needy. The most uncool shit you can do is worry about being cool. You want to know why cool people are cool? Because they don't give a fuck. They don't care about being cool or not. You see, the moment you start trying to self-police to not be corny, not be creepy, not be needy, is the moment you begin to abide by rules. And the whole point of being cool is that you don't abide by rules. See? So, by far, the best advice I can give you in this video, be completely carefree. Who told you you can't fart in front of her? You can. You'll get away with it. In fact, it's almost better you do, because you want to be the guy that can get away with less than ideal behavior. The greatest indicator of pre-selection is being able to get away with less than ideal behavior in front of her, because it indicates to her that you've gotten away with that kind of behavior in the past. Do you understand? By far the best advice, be carefree. Now, I'm happy you made it to the end of the video. If you're in the game and understanding all the things about social dynamics and talking and dating with women and all those good stuff, I'm happy for you, and I'm happy that you're beginning to see all these amazing results in your life. If you need more help with it, I have an entire course called The Interview. Looks like this, and it's going to be the best thing ever for you, because it teaches you how to incorporate a woman from step 1 of meeting her all the way to actually consummating the affair. Now, if you already have the interview, and I know a lot of people that watch me already do, I've made a brand new course called Hypnotica Erotica, and it literally teaches you how to use sex as a tool for ingraining massive levels of emotional investment into a woman, how to bypass her conscious mind, seep into her unconscious mind using a plethora of conversational hypnosis techniques and neurolinguistic programming techniques to really get yourself in there as the most impactful, most consequential man she's ever been with in her life. Now, the gift for you is that I give you a direct link. Usually I hide this link in all kinds of different places all over some of my courses, but you get to have it right here. I'm gonna shift this over here so you can have a good chance of seeing it right there. You can go click on that, and the price of this has to go up to make sure that not a lot of people have this. The more people that have this, the less effective it becomes over the years. So you want to be one of the first movers on this. Get it right now. Hypnotica Erotica. I'll see you inside. Until then, though, it's been Jason's favorite scientist. Do with all this information what you must.